I promised that I would tell you the story of how I saved Quincy's life when she was only 8 weeks old from being a SIDS baby, sudden infant death syndrome. So let's get into it. Quincy started sleeping out abnormally long when she was a newborn, and everybody that I spoke to about it, my pediatrician, my mom, my sisters, everybody said, you're so lucky, people would kill for that. Just let the baby sleep and wake her, or let her wake up and tell you when she's hungry, because I was breastfeeding. Anyways, fast forward to she was about 8 to 9 weeks, and I had just breastfed and put her back to sleep. It's probably about midnight, and Matt is asleep next to me in our bed. I put her down, I roll over, I try to go to sleep. About 10, 15 minutes later, I'm like tossing and turning. I hear Matt say, check on the baby. I said, I just fed her, she's fine. A few minutes later, Matt was like, JC, check on the baby. And I was like, she's fine, I just fed her. And then a few minutes later go by, and Matt was like, JC, check on the baby. I'm super frustrated, right? I'm exhausted. So I sit up and I'm like, you check on the baby. And I realize that my husband's not talking to me. And there's nobody else in the room. So I get chills. I get chills even now when I tell this story. So I roll over and I grab Quincy. Quincy is in a Velcro swaddle and she's sound asleep. She's not moving. She's not making a sound. So I look over at her and I kind of rub on her chest to see if I can get her to move. And she doesn't move and she doesn't make any noise. So I rub a little bit harder and still nothing. At that point, I kind of started to panic and I grabbed my phone and I shined my light on her face. And that's when I realized that she absolutely was not breathing. I start screaming and freaking out. Matt wakes up. I'm screaming, call 911, she's not breathing, she's not breathing. I'm trying to get her to take a breath, and I start CPR while Matt calls 911. At that point, we're both totally panicking, and I realize that the ambulance is just gonna take way too long. So me and Matt jump in the car, and we're 30 seconds away from the ER, so that's where we go. While we were in the car, before I handed her over, I was performing CPR on her, and right before we pulled into the parking lot, I just tried to pull a Hail Mary, whacked her chest, like whacked it. Like I was so scared that I was gonna hurt her, but at that point, I thought I had a dead baby. The hospital is expecting us, right? Because we're on the phone with 911 and the team is standing outside, and I quite literally throw my baby out the window to them and then I pass out. So now I'm on oxygen, Quincy's on oxygen, and about an hour later they come back and they've ran all these tests and they say, nothing's wrong with your baby. So Matt and I are like, what the hell do you mean nothing's wrong with our baby? Like she wasn't breathing, da 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 da. So anyway, so we're sitting in one of the trauma rooms and they say, there's nothing wrong with your baby, you can take her home. I'm freaking out. Everything inside me is like, no, something's wrong, something's not right. Like, what are you talking about? I saw my baby purple and not breathing. I had to give her CPR. I had to hit her twice and I watched her regain consciousness, and then I handed her to you and now you're telling me nothing's wrong. We're young new parents, okay? This is our first baby and she's only 8 weeks old, and they're telling us nothing's wrong and that we have to go home. So what did we do? We went home. They told us that they would make us an appointment with a specialist on Monday, and at that point it was Thursday. So Matt and I both had this pit in our stomachs, right?